Disclaimer, I'm the most long-winded council member. Just want to thank everybody for sharing their testimonies this evening. I spent this weekend replying to emails from residents. I think I stopped around 10 o'clock at night, but continuing to read till about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I know how people feel about this. For those of you that shared your personal stories, I'm going to give you a very, very brief version of mine. You know, I was born in Oregon. My parents were farm workers. My dad worked in the fields. He couldn't read. My mother worked in a packing shed for the company Ore-Ida. For those that don't know, Ore-Ida comes from the two states, Oregon, Idaho potatoes. My two older sisters also worked in the fields, picking onions and potatoes. If there's a smell I'll never forget is the smell of onions and onion bags. When I was about 5 or 6, my dad took me out there to get me to start working in the fields as well. He had me start off doing some weeding. I remember being a young man, slicing all 4 fingers because I didn't know what I was doing out there, but there I was at the age of 5, already working in the fields. My father died when I was 6 on Christmas Eve, December 24th. I remember my Christmas morning, my sister having to tell me the news and asking me if I understood what that meant. At 6 years old, you don't understand what that means. So tonight, when people talk about their trauma and that being triggered, I know exactly what that was like. It was very difficult for my mother at that time to live in Oregon, so we packed up and we moved to Salinas in 87. She had developed rheumatoid arthritis and battled it. Went to Barden, went to El Sal Junior High, when it was called Junior High. And, well, my mother passed away too when I was 13 years old after a battle with arthritis. Didn't know where I was going to live, didn't know where my next meal was going to come from. I bounced around living from aunt to aunt. And lived in a garage. So those that have talked about living in a garage, I know exactly what that's like. You know, a garage, it's cement. It takes a toll on your feet. I remember my Sunday nights having to take a knife and cutting off the callus from my heels. So yeah, I know what that's like. I know how frustrating that gets. I remember at one point, I was so frustrated. I stabbed my heel and the knife just stuck there. The callus was so thick, no blood came out. Went to Tallahassee for a year, graduated from North Salinas High School, graduated from Hartnell College, went over to San Diego State, got my bachelor's degree over there, and I came back. I had roommates from Salinas, had roommates from Castroville. We were known as La Clica. San Diego State, we were student activists then. Many of them are still activists now. Came back to Salinas when all my friends decided to stay in Southern California, so I know that argument. I came back because I love Salinas. I came back because Salinas was my home. Worked for the county, got involved in the nonprofit sector, gave back to my community. Have a volunteer list that would probably take like the rest of the night to get through. I pride myself on the volunteer work that I've given into this community. After working for the county and several nonprofit agencies doing youth and drug prevention, went back to school for my master's degree, paid for it, still stayed in Salinas when I could have gone anywhere I wanted. And as a commitment to higher education, took courses through Cornell University. one of our most prestigious universities in the United States. Got 2 certificates in diversity, equity, inclusion, and public sector leadership. But I choose Salinas. I got very lucky, found a beautiful wife, gave her 2 wonderful children, and Salinas is still my home. I will never leave Salinas. I will die here. Working in the philanthropy field, I feel very lucky to say I work for the Community Foundation for Monterey County. We were taught to convene people, right? Through my academic training, I was taught to know the difference between individuals and how systems affect them and how to bring institutions together. So tonight, what I'm saying is we have a very large community. Overwhelmingly, we heard tonight that we have a major issue with the cost of living. And I've also had the opportunity to meet with property companies. They're people too, right? But yet it's so easy to criminalize and start labeling people. You're this and you're that and you're this and you're that. Really easy to divide this line and tear our city apart. So easy to gaslight on the internet, take things out of content, rally people up. And here we are. In terms of the rent stabilization, tenant protection, and just cause, the tenant anti-harassment, hey, hands down, we need those, right? But what I'm hearing is that it doesn't quite work. It's broken. And it's okay to fine-tune it, right? But if there's something that I've noticed tonight, and as we've been going through this process, and it's something that I was trained in the art of reflective listening, I don't think I saw that through this process, right? Like, we really need the CCA, the BHC people, our community residents and leaders, our comité leaders, sit down in a room with those that are renting and try it. Those of you that have never done reflective listening, it's when you sit, like, you clear your mind, you listen to the other person speak, and then, and I'm going to give credit to the nonprofit agency that taught me this, Sun Street Centers. You put your finger on your head, and you say, what I'm hearing is that you own this property, you're renting it to me. The price for water, the price for utility, the price for trash, the price for maintenance is going up, right? It's affecting them as well. So here we are, we've set this percentage that is very stringent. State of California under Assembly Bill 1482 clearly states that there are limitations, right? So if you're renting 2-bedroom apartment, 1,800, under current existing law, can go up to 1,980. What we have is, it limits that to $49.50. It's just an example. So yeah, if you're renting and you're like, whoa, I'm now limited, that stresses you out, right? And so we've got to take this back to the drawing table, right? Like, you know, and it's not just the rent stabilization. I mean, you know, the state, you know, probably needs to increase the minimum wage again. I mean, we've got to figure this out. We need to be active, and that includes the city council, like with our legislatures. And so we've really got to, you know, come together as a community and walk out with a solution. I don't believe what we have here with the previous council, well-intended, but I'm hearing that's not worked. On top of that, I did hear from those property companies, management companies, say that when they reached out, to the previous council that none of them got back to them. Their voices weren't heard. So we can't be doing this back and forth and back and forth. You know, we're going to listen to you, but not to you. We're going to listen to this group and not that group. You know, I wish tonight's meeting really would have been more of a town hall meeting where we could have that facilitated and have that conversation and jot down notes and figure out, you know, what's going to work for tenants and what's going to work for property management companies. But unfortunately, that isn't the case here. So I do want to see like a redraw or revamp. For now, if it needs to be repealed, then it needs to be repealed. But we have to have protection for our tenants. We have to make sure that they are free from any sort of harassment. And then also, we also need to make sure that if a property management company has someone that they've got to let go, that they're not tied up in a bureaucratic process. So I want to see what my other council members have to say. It's very clear that we've got some more work to do, and I'll end there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gloria?
I'll pass, have Margaret
Okay.
talk first. 'Cause
Okay, all right, Margaret.
in a moment here.
Okay, I think I used most of my time during Lisa's